Hello and welcome back to My Life's Toil. I'm Neil, and if you've been following me before, you'll know that I've been documenting my journey through my weight loss adventures, if that's what I can call it, which it's been a bit of an adventure with its ups and downs, as you may have seen. If you're new here, welcome. It's good to have you. We have a really good, positive support network of people here on YouTube, also on my Facebook account as well, if you ever wanted to drop me a message or a comment. I have been on 8 weeks now, Mounjaro, just starting today my jab, which I will show you later in this video, my next pen, which is also the 5 milligrams. And if you know the dosages, or if you're thinking of starting Mounjaro for yourself, I'll put the dosages up here for you. But I've not moved up the doses like the prescribers expect you to do, and as the makers Eli Lilly have suggested, I actually advocate for people to stay on as low a dose that works for them, and that's why I'm staying on 5 milligram doses, and I'll show you the injection as I do every Wednesday towards the end of this video. I have also already done my weigh-in for the day. Just to recap over the last week, I did fall off the wagon a little bit, which if you look at my last video, it was Easter weekend, bank holiday weekend here, and we have Easter eggs as well as just generally most people eat unhealthily, don't they, bank holidays. And I documented how I'd sort of fallen off the wagon a little bit and indulged in, I did sort of undercut it a bit really. I indulged in a bit of chocolate, but I won't go into how much. And I want to put that behind me because the comments that I've had back from all the support network around me, the people that watch the video and send brilliant comments and ask questions and keep us all going. As I've said before, you keep me going, and hopefully I can give that back and keep you going with documentation of how it's going for me. The support has been superb. I think we've just got such like-minded people. They know the struggles that we have. Let's face it, obesity, not recognised by all as the disease that it is a struggle. It's no different to addictions of drugs, smoking, drinking, but it's always been seen so differently, isn't it? And again, as a lot of people know, it takes us a long time to actually come to where we are, to be on Mounjaro, Ozempic, Wegovy, whatever weight loss injections or plans that you're using. And if you're watching this now thinking about using Mounjaro, if you're suitable for the plan, if you've got no underlying conditions that sort of could give you adverse reactions or any complications, give it a go. Do your research, look into it, and if you have one of these in the fridge waiting to go for it. If you're worried about the jab, there's plenty of documentation out there. I do it every week, and I'll be doing it again later in the video. And as I always do, I'll put it in chat so you can jump straight to it if you'd rather go through that. But I did want to go through a couple of comments today and questions from off Facebook and YouTube as well. Just going through, there's not that many of them. But what I really wanted to get back onto today, and this is what I tend to be more about, is just being like you've given to me in the last few days since the weekend, just that positivity, because we really need that. And sometimes we need to lift ourselves up, don't we? You've done that for me this week, and I want to try and give that back a little bit because it can get tiresome. The other thing I wanted to do today, because there have been a couple of comments as well where it's just not working for people, so I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into this as well, because sometimes it could be for very basic and minor reasons, but also the realization may have to be there that it's not suitable for all. So we'll get into that a little bit now. This is a little question here that I wanted to touch upon. Can anyone help me? I've just gone to take second dose from my pen and it's not working. It doesn't click when I turn to the prime position, and when I press the plunger, no liquid comes out. I've tried turning it to the 1 position and actually administering the dose, but nothing happens. This is actually more common than you think. If people are having issues with the pen, first thing to do is to try just follow all the steps as you're supposed to. And I always show how we prime. And yes, you do with the Mounjaro quick pen. It does need priming every time. There are people that don't. There are other pens, other types of weight loss injections where you don't need to prime every time, just at the start. But with this quick pen, this one here needs priming every time you dose. But change the needle first, inspect the pen, make sure there's no damage. And like I say, we'll go through this. And if a change of needle doesn't work, then you may have to get in touch with your prescriber. When I was with Juniper, they had a really good outreach network, and if you needed to, they'd replace the pen. And I don't think it was too difficult to get that done, because sometimes these things are made in absolute vast quantities, and sometimes you get little issues. Sometimes the needles have little blockages in them, and it should be as easy as that to fix. This one comes up a lot, and I don't really mention it too much. One, because I don't get down there as often as I want to. But they said, are you working out as well? If so, how many sessions and how intensive? Yeah, early on with doing these videos, as I started documenting right at the start of when I started Mounjaro, I joined the gym. And the idea for me was to get down there 3 times a week. So sort of just space it out. I always try and have 2 days in between. And it hasn't gone to plan. I literally, in the last few weeks, I've been going once a week, which is usually on the Wednesday because I'm off. I have my son on a Wednesday. And then towards the end of the day, I'll go down there. And it's nothing majorly intensive. It's more about the advice is with any weight loss is just to do some sort of cardio is always good that you can manage, but some resistance training as well, because as well as losing the body fat, we will lose muscle mass as well. So if you're just doing, doesn't have to be anything, we're not bodybuilding, we're not doing heavy weights or powerlifting. I literally, it's very lightweight. So loose weights, dumbbells, just like, I mean, I'm not exactly building up muscle here, but just maintaining the muscle I've got for everyday use. I want to lose fat, not muscle. But if I lose some muscle, that's going to be, it's not a great deal. If there's people out there that want to be more bulky, then that's a different type of training. Very lightweight machines, and I do strenuous uphill walking on the treadmill. I will try, and my son's going to come with me down to the gym one day just to show you some clips of what I do if anyone's interested, but it's nothing strenuous. I'm really acutely aware that there's a lot of people that are following the channel that have underlying medical conditions that can't do much in the way of exercise. They have mobility issues, they have illnesses, and totally appreciate that. But if you can do just something that's out of the norm for you, if you can get to the swimming baths, movement in the water is always good. That's a resistance. But also just look into doing seated exercises as well. The sort of things that you can do. And I know I'm not in the right position on the camera to show you these, but you can sort of lift your legs. You hear my knee cracking there. That's my bad knee. So just lift it, just anything out of the ordinary. Even if you just hold a couple of cans of beans and just do something, just without causing you any great harm. The idea is, yes, exercising causes you to feel some sort of aches and pains after, but it's not the sort of aches and pains where you've overpulled yourself or ruptured something. It's like your muscle is repairing itself, and it's, remember the old phrase from what Arnie said back in the 80s or whenever it was, no pain, no gain. I'm sure it was Arnold Schwarzenegger that said something like that. So there's an element to that. So you will feel things working as you get back. I mean, I was absolutely, when I first started going back to the gym, it'd been years, and I overdid it. I admitted it, and I didn't think I had. And right here, what's the first exercise you think of with weightlifting? Oh, it's biceps, isn't it? I overcooked it, and my arms for weeks after were killing. So it hasn't put me off, but I'm taking it easier. But I need to build it back up. Long story short, I need to get down there more. I will be going back today. Now, this was an interesting question from Robert. Do you, stroke anyone else, ever feel that in the past you have been hiding out behind the overweight stroke fat and need to adjust to the idea of being slim and healthy? It is quite a big change which I am adjusting to as I leave behind an old overweight self of many decades. It's funny how we can even feel a bit sad at losing something that was bad for us. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying there, Robert. And I had to think about this when I first saw this on the comments. I wondered, like, and I hadn't really thought about this, but it really is something that makes you think about that question. I just look forward now to being a fitter, healthier me because, and I don't know if I speak for most of the people that's in the same boat as us, but how many people have been happy when we are overweight because you're trying to get rid of that person, aren't you? And that's the way I immediately think about it. But I can see what you're saying. It's like part of you is gone. It's a new regime, isn't it? It is a new lifestyle. It's a new life, and it should be a better, healthier life. And that healthier life, and this touches upon me and my chocolate scenario thing over the weekend, where I felt really bad for falling off the wagon and I got really good support back. You've got to adjust. You've still got to enjoy your life and you've got to enjoy the person that you become. And I think if you can see the positivity for leaving that fat person behind, it's like I look at pictures even now, and I'm only 2 months into this, but I can see the changes in me now. I can feel the changes in me now. And if you're anything like that, you look forward to leaving that person behind, don't you? But I can definitely see what you mean. It'd be interesting to see what other people think of this. And Robert, he watches all the videos from what I've seen. So leave your answers to this one. This will be really interesting. So, good question. Now, this one's not a question, but it's a comment. And this is what I want to touch upon today. This leads me on nicely to what we're going to discuss a little bit. I really wish this would work for me. And a lot of people have been saying this, and there's been some, not so much negativity, but frustration that I've seen in the comments. I'm on 5 milligrams and not lost a single pound or had any suppressed appetite. You're doing so well. I've plateaued a little bit, and we'll discuss that in a bit. Yeah, we are all different. Low doses, we start on 2.5. So I'm assuming you've just gone up to the 5 milligram doses as well. Now, that 2.5, although it works really well for some people, and some people actually stay on it. I've known people that only stayed on 2.5 because it worked well for them. But then I've known, and I tell you what, the person I'm thinking of that comes to mind is a big guy, and you'd think, and it doesn't work like this, you'd think, oh, low dose, it wouldn't touch him. But everybody is totally different. Our bodies function differently. We need different doses for different things. I'm not going to go too much into that, but we are different. Whereas some people, you could be tiny little 5 foot tall, like dumpy little person that needs to lose a bit of weight, and you might need to go right up the doses for it to work. But there's other reasons, and this is what I want to touch upon. Such as the first thing I want to mention, and someone mentioned this to me as well, because when I discussed about my weight had slowed down, which it has, we can plateau. So if we get used, our bodies will get used to, if we are consuming same sort of calories every day, sticking to a certain dose if we're on Mounjaro, and eventually our body will acclimatise and accustom to what we eat, drink, and we will level out. It's natural. It's natural to do that. So that's the time that we need to, if we've still got a target to beat and a weight aim to reach, that's where, for me example, and we'll talk about this when we get to the weight, that's where I need to make changes for me. And I'm not going up the doses as such on Mounjaro, but we look at the calories we're taking in. I do record calories, not every day, but when I think for example, if I've had too much, I'll have a look. If I'm nowhere near enough, I'll have a look. If I know I'm in the ballpark because I'm eating similar things daily. It's fine. So those are the sort of things. Other things like, are we drinking enough fluid? Are we moving enough? Are we burning enough calories? Those are the sort of things where we can plateau. The other issues, the other reasons, and this, I've done some research and I've put a little list together if you're wondering why I'm looking at my laptop, which is just over here. One of the things I've noted here is improper dosing schedule. Some people stretch the time between injections, and usually that's to save money. Although I know most people are actually doing the opposite and they're having injections more often, even microdosing twice or so a week. But there are those that actually go a bit further. So that's when it can disrupt the system. It's not working in the system as well. They may be eating more calories because they're not getting the sensations and the cravings are there. And sometimes we're just absolutely totally wrong in how we record calories. If you set yourself a calorific intake of the day and there's certain things you're not recording, for example, I know that some people, they'll have a cup of tea or they'll have numerous cups of tea or coffee, whatever beverages during the day, and they don't include these on their calories. When you think if you've got full fat milk, skimmed milk, there will be calories. Some people even have sugar in them and they're not counting it. I know it sounds daft. It does happen. I've spoke to people and they were just thinking, oh, well, it's just a drink, isn't it? Yeah, with sugar in usually and fat. So it's little things like that that we really need to consider. Other people, they'll count calories during the week and totally not at the weekend. And those are the times that they sort of have the weekend off and they go out drinking, go out to fancy restaurants and eat fatty foods and things like that. So the advice on that would be to reassess your diet and just spend, and don't let it take over your life, but just spend some time acknowledging everything that you're taking in. Because when I read, and I read only over the last few days, that people are just having the issues with Mounjaro not working for them. If Mounjaro is the tool that we use in our locker to help us make these lifestyle changes, it's not the miracle cure that we all think it is at first, or most of us think it is, because the cravings go, it's helping us lose weight. Most of us are feeling a little bit better with it. We need to see it as that help that we've been seeking, not the magic sponge that we wash over the injury and it cures it, because we still need to put the work in. And this is imperative because it's all right. Just yeah, I've read the comments where people have been taking Mounjaro and they've just eaten the same, but there's I don't know what the percentage is, but it's very, very low. And they will plateau. That's not going to last forever. And they'll be the first people to comment saying, "Oh, it stopped working. I can't understand why." Well, I'm preempting that question, so we understand why, don't we? And one of the obvious things is talking about calories as well, is increasing the physical activity where you can. Already mentioned that not everybody can be physical, but most of us out there can increase our physical output, burn calories more than what we have been doing. That's part of why we're here. I certainly was. I am not as anywhere near as active as I was a while ago. I could be a lot more active, and as I've already mentioned, I need to up my exercise. Walk the dog more, get out and just, like I said about work, if I was doing home visits at work, I used to jump in the car to go like a couple of 100 yards. Now I walk to those home visits. But just think little things like that. If you work in an office, but the old things that we're always told, where you can, instead of going up in the lift, walk up the stairs, walk down the stairs, just burn a few calories, make it, the small differences count. The other thing that's quite important, and this is the one where it's a little bit sad because it can be down to just medical conditions and underlying medical conditions. Sometimes people don't know that they have certain things. And I mentioned this to someone that did comment a while ago when they'd already said Mounjaro is just not making a difference for them, no suppression, no weight loss. And I'd suggested that it's probably time to go and speak to the doctor. You may need some blood tests. Certain things like hypothyroidism, which can be male or female, There could be medication that we're already taking and maybe stopping it. For the female gender, we're looking at polycystic ovary syndrome can be one of the reasons why you can't lose weight. Perimenopause, menopause that we've touched upon before, for the ladies of a certain age, can be one of the big reasons. There is so many medical reasons, current medical regimes of medications that we're on that can stop us. If you're not losing weight and you don't know why, and you think you're following a plan and you're not having the calories, you're in a calorie deficit, you probably need to go and get some blood tests done and have a chat with someone medical and investigate it, because there will be an answer. And it doesn't mean you have to stop being healthier. It just means you need to find another way around. So just while you're in this frame of mind, we're all here for a reason. And if we haven't started, in our case, Mounjaro yet, and you're one of these that's sitting on there thinking about it, you're ready to take that plunge, whether it is through medication or just becoming a healthier you. Now, yes, it's taken me, Mounjaro, to step up and do something about it, but that's the illness side of being obese. However we find ourselves in this position, we all have different reasons. If that's because of injury, if it's because we're just sedentary through our lifestyle, yeah, a lot of the time we get called lazy. It's not always down to being lazy. We know that sometimes life takes over. We all get a little bit older. Things get harder to do. And we end up here. And one day we just find ourselves like this. And it's a downward slope, isn't it? Mounjaro is that key for us unlocking that and turning the escalators back on. Elevators, what they're called in America, because I know I get this. The stairs that move up. I think what I'm trying to use this particular episode for today is just trying to bring some positivity back in, because I want to give that back this week. I'm going to get onto the weights now. I've already done my weigh-in. I'm not going to go through all that again. So just to touch upon where I was at the start: 135.6 kilos, 299 pounds, 21.5 stone. Last week I was 117.2, which is 258 pounds, and down to 18 stone, 6 pounds. That was on Sunday. It is now Wednesday, so it's only been a couple of days, but I have stepped back up since that dodgy weekend with the chocolate. But I haven't lost anything. And do you know what? I'm not bothered about that, because I haven't put anything on either, considering that I did fall off. I think it was, I'm not going to go into how much chocolate. And people have mentioned it's good to have a chocolate fix, but I'm going to speak about that in a bit. So this week, I'm exactly on Wednesday. It's start of week 9, starting the 5s again. So I'm still 117.2 kilos, 258 pounds, 18 stone, 6 pounds. So I haven't put on, and I'm taking every bit of positivity out of that I can. I don't think this is particularly plateauing. I think this is just me. It's almost like a warning sign to just get me back on track, and I'm really feeling positive about moving forward now. So I will be doing Saturday another weigh-in with the measurements, and let's see how we go. I'd love to do just even a pound off. I'd be more than happy with that. But it's just absolutely strange how it's exactly the same weight today as it was the other day, and I've gone back to weighing on the morning again, which is, try and keep it the same time of day before you do anything. That's my advice for those that do weigh. I know not everybody does weigh in. But going back to the comments that were really supportive and really nice, and I want to thank everybody that's been in touch. It was just most people that were just giving me a real kick, and it was brilliant. I love it. Thank you ever so much. A lot of people saying, yeah, you've got to include a chocolate fix, which I do agree with to a certain extent, and I think it's a good idea. People that include it in their calories, great. The only warning for me, that is, it would be something like that it's like the straw that broke the camel's back, if you see what I'm saying. And it's like saying to an alcoholic, for me, just have half a shandy, because that half a shandy is just going to get them to open up everything. And that's the worry with me and chocolate. That's my issue. Not everybody's the same. I think what people are saying, if it's measured and part of like save you, I know there's loads of people say, oh, I'll have a few squares of chocolates, and the dark chocolate idea was a really good one because of the benefits that it can have for you as well. But for example, if I was to say, oh, I'll just have a few cubes of Cadbury's Dairy Milk as a treat on the night time, my concern is, and this is my issue, as I say, that it wouldn't just be 3 squares. What do you think about that one? Interesting one, isn't it? So let's see what the comments come back with that. Especially when the cravings wear off, that's the problem. Which, let's talk about that as well. So I'm jabbing again today, back to the 5 milligrams. Last couple of days, there have been cravings, but because of what happened the weekend, I've really managed to use the willpower. So I'm looking forward to getting the Mounjaro back into me again today. Right, let's get on to the jab. I've been waffling on, as I usually do, enough. We'll go into the clinical room, also known as, I say, the kitchen. So here we are, back in the kitchen. My brand new pen. So I'm going to teach you to suck eggs a little bit. Make sure that it's yours, it's the dose you expect, and then we're going to do the unboxing. So literally take it out, obviously read through the instructions if it's your very first pen. Here is my second 5 milligram pen. So I am going to put my glasses on first, like I always have to. 5 milligram Mounjaro quick pen, Tazapatide. Make sure the date is where it should be. So this is April 2026. So April next year. Got 12 months to use that one. Then we'll have a little look. All that looks good. I'm going to hold it up to the light, inspect everything about it. The dialy bit's all working. There we go. So that's all good. That's ready to go. Obviously, what we do want to make sure of is that we've got everything we need here, like sharp spin, hand sanitizer, which give that a good go now. There we are. Can't be too clean. And with the pen, we should get the needles and some wipes, which are, as I keep telling you, not to clean the injection site necessarily. You won't be criticised for doing that, but these are actually supplied to clean the little seal in there. See that red rubber bit there? That's the seal. That's what we're going to clean each time we dose. And each needle that we use, each one of them is primed every time, not just on the first use on the quick pen. So let's get it set up. Open this here. The last ones I had off Juniper came in a little box. So if I get out one of the little wipes, see again on here it says pre-injection swab. Well, that's to clean the seal in this case. So we shall take that out. And then literally what we're doing is just use a little corner of that just to clean the seal around there. That's it. That's ready to accept the needle onto that now. And these are the needles. I've read these before. They are 0.23 millimeters by 4 millimeters. There is literally nothing to them. Make sure even that's not damaged or anything like that. That comes sealed. And we can take that off there. Be careful because there is the other end of the needle in there that goes into the pen. So offer it up nice and square. Don't come in on an angle because there's a chance you might bend it. And then screw that down there. It doesn't have to be really, really tight, but just enough to make that seal. And then that comes off there like that. We want to keep this because we're going to use this to remove the needle and put it in the sharps box afterwards. So let's get on and we'll show you how to prime the pen. So as I say, just take that off. Then there's another shield just on the actual needle there that can come off and that can go in the normal bin. But I'll put it in the sharps bin because I'm lazy sometimes. And then we're going to look at priming the pen. So see the dial here, that dial, that's what we use to adjust what dose we're going to give. But initially, to prime, we're going to go 2 clicks to that long mark there. You can go either way. So that's 2 clicks from 0, and then that's ready to prime. And then what we do is we give that a 5-second squeeze. And I'm not getting anything. This is quite fitting, actually. I'm going to go back and I'm going to try and prime again, because this is quite fitting, because we had a question earlier like this, didn't we? There we go, we've got a couple of beads. It didn't jet out like it has done in the past. Different pen, different results. Then we use the dial again. Be careful not to touch the needle. Keep that nice and sterile. And we click it all the way round to number 1. And as I've said many times before when I've done my jabs, that 1 means 1 for 1 dose. There we go, that's ready to go. So let's get ready. I'll move the camera down, you can see it. I'm going into my tummy again. We'll do that now. So with pen at the ready, get the gut out. I'm going to the left-hand side now. I'm going to avoid where I've been before. That's all ready to go. I've made sure there's no air in here. The needle's all primed. Let's stand here so you can see exactly what I'm doing. That's nice and clean. I've showered. Don't need to use the swab for the skin. You can if you really want to. It's not a problem. It's not bad practice, actually. And then we're going to go in straight, not at an angle. Nice and straight into the tummy, into the subcutaneous fat, like so. And then if you watch the dial, that is turning. You do need to put a bit of pressure on at times. Give it about 5 seconds, a couple of moments. And then as we went in, straight as we come out again as well. Check the site. This time I have no blood like I did last week. So here we are. We cover that back up there. Unscrew. And then nice and safely into Sharps box. That is done for the week. So let the tirzepatide, the Mounjaro, do its magic. Hopefully it will work for you if this is your first time. If it's a couple of my regular people that watch, thanks for staying with me. That'll do for this week. We'll see you on Saturday this week. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Any comments, look forward to them. But try and keep them positive, please. Let's keep it a nice positive channel. We all help each other here. Excuse me. Keep promising I'm going to do food. I am definitely going to do some of the things I eat. I have started collecting some stuff. I also want to do some homemade protein flapjacks, and I'm going to use the Supreva powder, the buttercream flavoured one, because I think that will be lovely. That's the plan as well. I'm hoping to do that for Saturday, show you how we get on with that. But if you've got any burning questions, you can message me on here, or you can send me a message on Facebook as well. But apart from that, keep up with the good work. Have a great week, and we'll see each other on Saturday. Take care. See you soon.